Shape your mind to shape your future.
De niños nos preguntaban qué queríamos ser cuando fuéramos grandes.
Como si llegar a ser alguien fuera una meta final.
Yo soy Marifer.
Y yo soy Ale.
Y esto es The Magic of Becoming.
Creemos en la magia de nunca dejar de aprender. Hoy les presentamos un invitado que tuve el honor de conocer súper random en un concierto en Las Vegas el día de mi cumpleaños en Dua Lipa. Estuvo súper loco porque volteó literal nomás a pedirme una foto. Estaba él con un amigo y me pide la foto. Nos quedamos platicando antes de que empezara el concierto y me empieza a contar qué es lo que hace, qué es lo que ha creado, y la verdad es que me voló la cabeza. En ese momento lo agrego a sus redes sociales. Tuve una reunión con él para que me platicara un poquito más, pero ese día la verdad es que disfruté mucho haber conocido a una persona en un momento así, porque yo iba sola en esa zona, entonces estuvo súper loco porque sentí que lo conocía de toda la vida y de verdad disfruto muchísimo conocer personas como tú que realmente se preocupan por el bienestar de las personas. Ahorita se van a impactar con todo lo que Marcelo tiene para compartirnos. Es una persona súper, o sea, tiene muchísima luz. Hoy va a ser un episodio muy especial porque la verdad es que no queremos traducirlo. Yo voy a hablar a español e inglés, pero sí queremos que Marcelo lo haga en inglés y Marifer también lo va a hacer en inglés. Pero felices de disfrutarlo contigo, Marcelo, y bienvenido. Marcelo es CEO y founder de VR Health Clinic and Aware Through the Speech Brain Computer Interface. Y pues nos va a contar un poquito qué es todo lo que hace con Neuroscience. Bienvenido, Marcelo. Gracias por estar aquí.
Hello, Ale. Hello, Marifer. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so grateful to have met you both. Yeah, what a story, huh? What a story. That's funny. I cannot believe that you started like that. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I love it. I love it. Where should I start? Oh my goodness. So I am the founder of VR Health Clinic. It's the first clinic. It was the first clinic in the world to use virtual reality technology for neuro rehabilitation. We've been open with the virtual reality aspect since 2013. And 2 years ago, we're still working with this project. That's the Aware BCI. That is the first thought to speech and thought to action device. When I say BCI, that stands for brain computer interface. So I am a neuroscience and brain health specialist. I don't like to say expert. I feel kind of like expert. I'm an expert. So, but yeah, you guys tell me, where would you like to start? What would you like me to share with you?
Well, first of all, welcome, Marcelo. It is a true honor because even though we are from a distance and we are virtually connected, your energy is here with me, and I know for sure it's with Ale as well. You have a beautiful energy, and the thing I like most about recording this podcast is that we have the experience of meeting people like you, people that are really passionate about a subject, and not only that, but they're doing something every day to change the world. And that I am forever grateful, because I am aware that we are a conscious community, and together we have to raise the consciousness of the world. And it's something that we don't do by ourselves, we do together. So exactly. I just want to thank you for that, for being such a passionate entrepreneur with what you do. And I would love to start knowing a little bit more about you, and to have the people that listen right now to know more about your story. What got you into neuroscience and to the unconscious mind and all of these interesting subjects?
Ooh, that's a deep one. So yeah, I've been involved with, studying neuroscience, neuropsychology, and I'm a brain computer interface developer as well. Or I actually originally from Argentina. So I born in Argentina. I've been in the United States for a very, very long time, very long time. Pretty much, yeah, a lot of my life here. Um, yeah, wow, I normally don't talk about this stuff like that on the open, but you know what? I want to share it. What? No one ever asked me this. Like, why did I become a neuroscientist? I've been always fascinated, obviously, by human behavior and the human mind. But as a kid, I was very bullied because I was a very different child. I was very, very different child. I liked things as a kid that other kids didn't like. And yeah, I got beat up when I was 11 years old and I went into a coma. So, and I need to say this. This is going to be another episode because I have an entire experience, and I call it the coma world. But coming out of that, and yeah, coming out of that and everything, and trying to understand why people behave like that, what I experienced during the coma, and all the neurological phenomenons, if you want to say that I experienced. It made me start going into this journey of understanding human behavior, understanding the human brain. And as I kept getting older, I'm a quantum being. And when I say I'm a quantum being, I'm a spiritual being. And and then I started mixing everything. I started mixing the whole neuropsychology that I study, neuroscience, and as a big nerd that I am, mixing technology with the brain-computer interface. And for just in case somebody do not know what it is, we're talking about all the brain mapping and all the data that we get from the brain, downloading it into the neural network processor in order to be able to control computer system with brain impulses. If that makes any sense, that would be the very short version. But then, yeah, fascinated by understanding the journey, understanding why did I go through things like that as a kid. So it's a mix of not only understanding the brain, it's also a mix of understanding the brain and healing myself. And yes, and I've been on this healing journey my entire life. And then I also been the guinea pig, applying all the techniques that we use by using technology and neuroscience at VR Health Clinic. I use it on myself throughout the years in order to heal myself, in order to be where I am in life right now, and to provide this to other individuals. And it's been nothing but an absolutely amazing journey, and I'm still learning, and I'm still learning. I think that we never stop learning. I love learning. So
I
I hope that
agree with I agree with that. I agree that we never stop learning, and I'm very grateful that you had the vulnerability of opening up with your story. Before recording, you shared a little bit about that, and I'm happy that you feel comfortable in this space to share that part of your story. What part of the brain do we store trauma in, or do we store trauma in the brain? Because that's a question that just popped up in my head when you were talking. If you got so interested after this incident, or that's something that sparked the interest in studying the brain, where do we store trauma as human beings?
the subconscious mind. Um, and there's so much. There's the subconscious mind. I want to touch on a little bit. I don't mean to go all over the place into something called the polyvagal nerve theory, which also store trauma in our body. But when we're talking about, obviously, the brain controls the entire body, and all this experiences and all this input that are being, once again, input by our caregivers, mom, dad, neighbors, siblings, are all stored, either positive or negative. They are all stored during the first 7 years of our life. Why that happened? Why Marcelo? Why the first 7 years? Just picture that we are the first 7 years of our life, or when we're babies, by the way. Let me start like that. We are in delta, theta, and then we are in theta during all of those years. And theta, it's a very, very subconscious state of mind. Let me dissect this better in order for the audience to understand. I want all of you to remember bat, like Batman, B-A-T-D, like bat with a D at the end. So bat D. B is for beta, A is for alpha, T is for theta, D is for delta. All right. So me, Marcelo, I'm on beta right now, right? So we're talking like, oh, okay, maybe like 20 hertz, 170 TPM thoughts per minute. So I'm just sharing with you, you know, like how I feel. I'm passionately talking about this, right? So I'm in beta, higher hertz, right? Like the valleys. And if we do the EEG, I'm talking about, right? You get to see the valleys, the brain waves, beta. You guys right now listening the podcast, you, Marifer, and you, Ale, are on alpha, lower TPM, thoughts per minute, and lower hertz. Meaning that alpha right now, it has a little access to the subconscious mind, just a little bit. I'm gonna grab my brain model right here. So you have a little more access to the subconscious mind. It's a very good state, alpha, to study, to listen, to understand. BA, TD now, theta. When theta happen when you are meditating, and I'm talking when you are in good coherence, when you are like really meditating, right? It happens maybe 15 to 30 minutes when you're in bed, laying down, 15 to 30 minutes. You are in theta, right? Right before you fall asleep. And theta, you have full access to the subconscious mind. Lower brain waves, meaning lower hertz, lower TPMs, practically very low thoughts per minute. And you have this full access to the subconscious mind. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit. And then you go into delta. Delta, REM, rapid eye movement. And of course, we have gamma. We can talk about that later. That's something else. But let's go back now when we were kids. Babies, you're in delta, then you move to theta. So a lot of neurogenesis happen when you're a baby. The birth of neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons. Amazing. If we do an MRI, you get to see a spectacular like storm of electricity and moving. It's colorful. It's beautiful when we get to see that on kids and adults too, but mainly on the kids because everything is developing though. So full access to the subconscious mind. So now, and I'm going to use an example. Of course, this is not the case, Ale or Marifer, that your mom told you, Ale, oh my God, you're a terrible singer, Ale. You can't sing, you know? Oh my God, you're horrible at sport, Marifer. Oh my God, you shouldn't do this. You're gonna get hurt. And all this input, once again, picture that the first 7 years of our life, most of the neuroplasticity, most of the neurogenesis is happening. All the data is going straight to your subconscious mind, okay? Now, you move, as you grow, let's say 8, 9, you move into alpha. It's going to start closing. And now you're living with this old programming. And I'm using a silly example without being dramatic because a lot of people, they experience traumatizing stuff. And then you go around life with the illusion that you're horrible at sport, or with the illusion that you're horrible at singing, that you're not good enough for something. And let me emphasize something here. We are 95% subconscious, 5% conscious. Let me repeat this again. We are 95% subconscious, 5% conscious. Everything that you do, 95% of the things that you do, even now, are based on subconscious programming and beliefs. And then you go around life thinking that you are talking about the trauma, that you're damaged, that you're not good enough, that things are not feels weird. And we do have an unlimited, absolutely unlimited divine potential within us that is greater than anything that you guys can imagine. And you can reprogram that. You can actually reprogram that. Yes, we use technology at VR Health Clinic. We use something called neurofeedback. We use RTMS, that stands for repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation. There are pulse electromagnetic frequencies that go transcranially in order to change neural pathway with neurofeedback. What is neurofeedback? And I'm going to try to keep it short. Neurofeedback is an evidence-based approach that enhances awareness and control over your mind and body by using physiological signals from your own mind and body. How do we read those signals? We use electroencephalography, EEGs, electroencephalograms. That's how we read them, right? And then the awareness and control are being used by using BCI, brain computer interface device. So you pretty much get to play games with your mind. How does it help me? Through self-regulation and neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? Is the malleability of the brain to mold to new situations and circumstances. So long story short, you're training the brain waves that you're lacking. So if you have something called oversympathetic arousal, that would be the clinical term for severe anxiety. Clearly, within beta, there are 4 frequencies, and I'm seeing clearly not about the frequencies. I'm seeing clearly you're not going to be able to create healthy brainwaves. Your brainwaves are going to be all dysregulated, and then you're going to have problems sleeping because you cannot create theta brainwaves. And what do we do with this technology? You get the feedback of the brainwaves that you're lacking, and you get to train them. So if you do not create healthy peak alpha brainwaves or theta brainwaves, you're going to be doing exercises that are going to be able to create this alpha brainwaves and put you in a very healthy state. Now, with reprogramming the subconscious mind, right? That's what you want to know, I believe.
Yes,
What?
I would love to know that.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be like a five hours episode. I love it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So let me see, where do I start? Where can I start with this? So I have many clients coming to me that they've been people with anger issues, let's say, right? Depression. Let's talk about the anger problem. Okay, you take some medication for anger. You can take, I don't know, let's say Xanax. I'm just saying something random, Lexapro, 10 milligrams. That's for depression though, but you feel more calm. Okay, this individual, let's call him or call her X, had a very traumatizing childhood, right? All of a sudden she'd start taking medication. She feels really good. So she's been taking this for, she never learned how to cope with the issue. She comes see me and we start talking, about her past. We start using tech, right? We start using clinical approaches, using technology like neurofeedback and RTMS, and we start creating healthy theta patterns in order for her to input good information. Let me give you an example, and I have to share this because it's fascinating. Verbal, of course, physical abuse is going to cause brain damage. And when I say brain damage, I'm not talking from the punching. I'm talking about like just a slap in the face, or which is that's a lot, by the way. But when somebody verbally abuses you, it causes brain damage. And you're going to be asking me like, what do you mean when somebody verbally abuse me is going to cause brain damage? It causes brain damage is because we have something called the sympathetic nervous system without the autonomic nervous system. Okay, within the autonomic nervous system, we have something called the parasympathetic nervous system, pretty much us right now, just breathing and, heartbeats, stomach, regulation, and the whole thing is all in autonomic, it's all in automatic mode. And then we have something called the sympathetic nervous system that is a switch made of flesh, right? Created for the flight-fight response. Right, see, if I'm next to you right now and I scare you and I do something like this, all of a sudden the sympathetic nervous system is going to turn on. It connects through the vagus nerve, medulla, vagus nerve that goes all over your body, million of connections, mainly the heart, the stomach, faces, you get triggered, your BPM, beats per minute, right? Your heartbeat is going to change. You're going to start over breathing, muscle tense up, skin temperature will drop. No, the skin temperature will go lower. So you're on flight fight. It's on. It's just like a light switch. It will go on. And then all of a sudden it will go off, right? Somebody scream at you. It says something that triggers you. It's going to go on. Now, just, I don't know how many of you are going to be watching it or just listening. So I'm just going to give you like a kind of like a explanation of the light switch. Imagine that right next to me, I have a light switch and I grab the light switch, guys, right? The light is here, light switch is right here on the wall. And I start going on and off, 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 on and off. What's going to happen to the light bulb? It's going to give up. It's going to break. The same thing with the sympathetic nervous system. When we are exposed to a lot of toxicity, to more than we can handle. Let me start by saying that we are not created to go through so much. Can I say shit? Is that okay if I say shit? Thank you. So we're not created to go through so much shit. So this on and off, 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 it does this, guys. It starts flickering. Start flickering. You don't know that. You need to come to a clinic. You need to do some brain mapping, right? In order to see what's going on. Now you go, you snap for no reason. I mean, it is valid because the trauma, but you don't know that, right? All of a sudden you are crying. You wake up tomorrow sad, then the next day happy. Then all of a sudden there are things that you don't understand that they will trigger you. Things that they're going to be like, oh my God. Then you go and start taking medication. You're taking this medication, right? You're not learning how to cope with the system, with the issue, sorry. And the flickering thing of the sympathetic nervous system, the little light switch that I gave you as an example, still doing this, still flickering. Okay, all right, but I'm good. I'm taking medication. It's an illusion. I'm taking out of the meds. You're going to go back to the same issue. Of course, we do have certain neurochemical disorder that you do need them, right? I'm not saying don't take them, but I'm talking about like things that through subconscious programming, you're going to be able to do it, right? So if you are doing this theta programming and everybody's like, okay, Marcelo, tell me, how do we do it? How do we do it? How do I access theta? And that's the thing, right? How do we access theta? We are all blessed. And I don't want to say care, sounds a little mean. It doesn't matter. That would be a better word. It doesn't matter how traumatizing your life has been. We do carry a divine intelligence within us. And I'm going to say it again, that is greater than anything you guys imagine. You do have theta right before go to sleep. You can access theta right before you go to sleep. But one of the most magical things it happens in the morning. So you wake up during the morning, open your eyes, right? So the sun hits your eyes, visual cortex, melatonin levels start dropping, serotonin start like racing. You're still in theta for 20 minutes. For 20 minutes, that means that your brain is highly malleable, just as it was when you were a baby, when you were 7 years old. What 99% of the human population do?
Check their phones.
Or you just wake up in the morning complaining that you have to go to work. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, I have to see my boss, or oh my God, I can't believe that I'm going to be doing this. Or you just remember your relationship with your mother or your father or your brother that was tough, and things that happen. And it's a vicious circle. Now let's picture this. I said that theta is highly subconscious. The gate is open. All the data and all the information that you are processing, it goes right back there, right in the back, all to your subconscious mind. What do you do in the morning? 99% they're complaining. They're like, gosh, I hate this. It's a vicious circle. Then it closes, you move into alpha, and that's it. And you go around life again by with this all subconscious program and belief. So what do? You wake up in the morning. I'm going to tell you something much better than that. Yes, you can write affirmations. I love I am, because I am conditions you, right? When you say like, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise, I am unlimited, I am infinite love and light, whatever you want to say, the word I am will condition you to that. But especially when you're in theta. So you can write 7 to 10 I am affirmations on a paper, and you can read them before going to bed. And then you wake up in the morning and you read that. But there's something way more powerful that you can do, you can actually record yourself saying the I am. You can put them on a loop, on a low volume, and you go to sleep with that. I guarantee you, I give you my word that your subconscious pattern will change. And that's because you're gonna be passed out, you're in theta, moving to delta, and everything that you're hearing during this recording is gonna go right in the back of your mind. You wake up in the morning, and you better believe me that you wake up in the morning and you play this, or you have good visuals in the morning. I mean, we have YouTube. You can YouTube like, I am affirmation for success, or I am affirmation for happiness. Play that for 20, 25 minutes. I guarantee you, you're going to start feeling better. I'm not telling you in a day or two, but things are going to be changing and you will be feeling better. That's it. Goodbye, guys. That's all.
Sounds amazing. And I have a question of the how does it functions the virtual health clinic? Like
The
how
virtual
does it
reality
start?
aspect.
Uh-huh.
Um, oh, so we do something called virtual reality exposure therapy. So let me start by saying that the human brain doesn't know. When you close your eyes, I'll give you a very silly example. So let's say that we are doing a QEEG, right? So 32 channels, EEG, electroencephalogram, you're connected. I make you close your eyes. And I'm asking you, Marifer or Ale, it's just imagine that you're running. All of a sudden, I'm going to start getting the same neuroelectrical readings. I mean, the same EEG readings as if you will be running. The same, exactly the same. And the mind doesn't know what is real or what is not, right? So if you think about something negative, you are going to be creating level 2 beta, maybe level 3 beta, meaning that you're going to be like, oh, very anxious. And how do we know that? Obviously, through medicine. We know that through neuroscience and all this MRI, EEG, you name it. We get to see exactly what's happening. Now, for a lot of people, especially people with trauma, we work with a lot of veterans, right? And it's different if somebody tells you like, because trauma, I want you to think about something positive. But now, I don't know how many of you have done VR. I'm talking about good virtual reality technology with good image and good devices and things like that. Of course, we use it for clinical purposes, and we put the client in very amazing, positive environment. You are in a 360 holographic environment. Your mind, your brain cannot distinguish what is real, what is not. You don't need, I mean, of course you need it, it's stronger, but if I give you the example of you just closing your eyes and imagine something positive, how about now with your eyes open doing a guided meditation with me and on Tahiti or in space, because we have amazing places in VR. And then again, you are exposing your mind and the subconscious mind to this beautiful, stunning place, and healing happen. Of course, we mix this 3D or 360 holographic technology with positive words. So they are flying, they comes to you. We also use the neurofeedback aspect with virtual reality, meaning that the environment and virtual reality is going to act according to how you feel, because it's reading your brainwaves, by the way, as well. So if you feel stressed out, and we are in the virtual reality environment, we are by the ocean's going to be dark, the moon is not there, everything looks like kind of like crappy, and all of a sudden you start doing breath work with me. As soon you start lowering those brainwave frequencies, the environment is going to change. The water is going to become clear, the moon is going to rise, the stars look absolutely beautiful, and now the brain and the subconscious mind gets it. It's like, oh, I have to do this in order to relax. So you have this visual cue as well in order to program you. When I was just talking about the veterans, is exercises where you walk on this, and I'm talking about a few years ago, and even now though, when you get to walk in like very beautiful environment of Afghanistan, everything looks nice, the kids are running, they're not hurt, and it's healing, it's healing. So the subconscious mind start replaying and reprogramming this beautiful visual story. And
That is genius. That is really brilliant. That is using technology to change people's lives. I can't wait to try it.
oh my
And
God.
I can say that I do that in my meditation, and I've seen a change. When I started meditating, I learned to visualize at the end of my meditation by saying thank you as it already happened, since
Yeah.
gratitude is like the highest level of energy that there is. And then you're visualizing, and your brain doesn't know the difference between time. So then you're attracting that. But
Correct.
it's so difficult to explain that to a person who has been constantly playing that movie in their minds of how everything's going to be wrong, how everything's going to go the familiar past. Like, my boss is going to complain, my mom is going to scream at me, and there's going to be traffic there, blah 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 blah. So it's just, it's fascinating what you're doing, because you're using technology to help what seems impossible to some people, especially people with more age, because they've been playing that movie for more years. So it's more
Yeah.
difficult to reprogram the
Exactly.
subconscious mind.
Exactly.
So I think what you also suggested of recording ourselves, I think that's very powerful. And I would ask you, as a neuroscientist, how much impact does it have, all like what we see in TV or on our phones or on whatever we see before we go to sleep and after we wake up? Because if if this technology can be so helpful, it could also harm us, right? Like
Of
social
course.
media and I don't know, this horrible, I don't know, a horror story before going to bed.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you this again. Just imagine that what I was saying before regarding me being in beta, my mind going super fast right now, sharing passionately all this knowledge. You guys are in alpha, so you have more access to the subconscious mind, and that's due to lower brainwave activity, lower TPM, because you're listening to me right now. Okay? Now it's the same thing when you're watching TV. It's the same thing that because it's a lower brainwave state, you have a little better access to the subconscious mind. Now, if you're doing this right before going to bed, you're in the shift into theta. So now you're just sending all this crap. I mean, hopefully it's positive, but a lot of people watch like very negative things before going to bed. And that's not good. And that's not good. There's a lot of triggers. And even if they're not triggers, why put in all this? Why put in all this negativity and toxicity into our subconscious mind? And I believe that I'm a big believer that change your conscious, change the world. And by changing our consciousness, we can really have this divine impact in the world by inputting, putting all this beautiful data into our mind, not only to become better, also to change others. So watching informative, positive things regarding healing or studies or things to help others or for you to become better, or fun stuff. I love comedy. Comedy is great though. Like something that makes you laugh is the best, especially if you have a crappy day. Watch something funny. We work with people we do something called gamma training, um, which this is going to be another subject, by the way. And when I say gamma, I'm talking about the gamma brainwave. That is the super consciousness. It's the gratitude brainwave. And we do gamma training with gamma frequency for people with, let me share with you. Actually, you know what? I cannot share a picture of the patient. Sorry. HIPAA law in the United States, we can do that. So, but anyhow, we do this gamma training with people with cancer, and I cannot even tell you how much better they get. So not only by doing the PMF, also by watching positive things. We have the amazing science of psychoneuroimmunology, the effects of your thoughts and brainwaves and hormones.
Let me ask you something that popped up, Marcelo. In your clinic, do you guys take the person to the trauma that is triggering anger, depression, anxiety, etc., cancer, whatever? Or do you guys just focus on reprogramming it without having to go back to what caused it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we don't like to talk about it. And I mean, many people want to talk about it right away, but in order to, of course, it's science. And I'm saying this because I like to impress them by them not telling me anything. So the EEG wouldn't lie. The brain mapping wouldn't lie. So I asked them, just let's save it and then we talk about it, right? So they will come, they will do the brain mapping, and all of a sudden I will get to see this huge brainwave dysregulation, anxiety, and different stuff. And that's how I start sharing with them the issue. If they want to open up, good. But I will just share this knowledge like I'm sharing with you right now. I let them open up. I don't like to use the whole, obviously it's neuroscience, neuropsychology, it's all good though. But sometimes just like replaying the whole trauma, you can share with me later on. I just don't want you to do it like maybe right away right now. I just want to share with you exactly what I see, what I understand from the brain mapping, where is the brainwave dysregulation, and what is going on with you, right? And then you can talk to me about it if you like. And then based on that, we create this protocol in order to help you to reduce anxiety, depression. We do pain management. We do something called neuroscience for business to have higher focus, and many other things. And a lot of the stuff, of course, are on my social media pages with so much more information. So.
And how long does it take to heal someone, even if it's anxiety, depression? How long?
It's relative. It's relative. I mean, I have people like crying in disbelief after 2 weeks. And then I have individuals that it takes 2 months to some of them 7 months, which is amazing, which is pretty amazing though. And once again, we are using neurofeedback, RTMS, neuropsychology, and all this knowledge to unlock the unlimited potential of the human mind.
I'm curious. Have you found a pattern on the brain? If it's depression, it's in certain area of the brain. If it's anxiety, it's in another area of the brain. Or yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Wow. Interesting. And what triggers depression, for example? Is it the same? Does it have a pattern of what triggers depression for most people, or not necessarily?
I mean, not necessarily though, because I mean, you have, we're talking as a neurochemical imbalance, but a lot of time this neurochemical imbalance is caused, I'm not saying, I need to be cautious with my words here. So it is a neurochemical imbalance. It can be genetic, or it can be triggered by the trauma. And that's why we cannot mess around when we're feeling bad with loss. I mean, there's we call it the circle of loss. There's a certain amount of time where you can be sad. But then if you just continue with this sadness and this negative feeling after loss or something traumatizing that happened to you, and you don't go and look for help, that's when the neurochemical damage is going to start, imbalance is going to start happening. So somebody lost a family member, which is tragic, of course. And of course, you're going to be very sad for a very long time. But then if you are stuck in this pattern for, let's say, we don't put a time on healing. I'm not saying this. I'm not talking about putting a time on healing. I'm talking about like, of course, you're going to be sad. Of course, you're going to be feeling really, really down. But then if you're talking that it's like 10 months to a year and you're still feeling like that means that it's brainwave dysregulation caused by the trauma and the loss. And then if you are stuck in this pattern for, let's say, we don't put a time on healing. I'm not talking about putting a time on healing. I'm talking about like, of course, you're going to be feeling really, really down. But then if you're talking that it's like 10 months to a year and you're still feeling like that means that it's brainwave dysregulation caused by the trauma and the loss. And it's still going to start causing, once again, we have the psychoneuroimmunology, is going to start causing a neurochemical imbalance. So that's why it's always good to look for, to ask for support when we go through traumatizing stuff and not play with it. So, and I hope that makes sense, that right? So we have the genetic neurochemical imbalance that is hereditary from your mom, dad, or grandma, and or you just suffer from depression and none of your family members suffer it. But guess what? Maybe you went through something really traumatizing and you were not aware of it. And all of a sudden, you gave yourself this situation.
Wow. Another thing that I want to ask you.
Of course. Of course, Marifer.
Can we have a healthy brain being in an unhealthy environment? Is it possible with having healthy habits? Like, okay, if let's say an example, me, Marifer, I meditate, I hydrate myself, I do exercise, my diet is a balanced diet. I try to take care of how I take care of myself. I read, I listen to podcasts, etc. But my home is a toxic environment. Canceled. It's not true. It's just a hypothetical scenery. And my family is toxic. They're always complaining. There's screams, they're fighting, or my work environment is unhealthy. Am I able to keep myself in a healthy state, my brain in a healthy state, if I'm doing all of these things, but my environment is horrible?
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's better than not doing anything, but it's just constantly just playing this negative record, right? So it's back and forth. Of course, it's better than not doing anything, but yeah, get out from there, because you never be able to fully heal. So, and just like I was mentioning before, how do we create over sympathetic arousal, severe anxiety? Over sympathetic arousal, once again, is the damaged sympathetic nervous system. So you can be doing all this meditation, but all of a sudden somebody, it doesn't have to say anything. This person that did X or Y in the past, you're living with it, and it's just the face, it's just the attitude, and all of a sudden you're going to be triggered again, and the sympathetic nervous system is going to go on. But you have a superpower. You have a superpower. You have the superpower of understanding how to heal through breathing, through self-regulation, right? And understanding the self-regulatory circuitry of the brain is huge. This is a huge thing, right? Because it's better than not doing anything when you get triggered. Then you have toxic and you have positive self-regulation. Toxic self-regulation, oh my God, what an awful day. Here, I'm gonna have like a freaking glass of tequila. Actually 5. And then you start drinking. And that's the toxic self-regulation. So what do? I mean, just, I'm gonna go for a walk, I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna do breath work, I'm gonna talk to my friends, I wanna meditate. So that would be a positive thing. So at least you have that superpower. But then again, you will go back to the same thing. Once again, it's a little better though than just the bottle of tequila.
And can you share some other tips about how to unlock our potential, unlimited potential that we all have within us?
Gratitude. I think this is me right now. I think that gratitude is a big thing, and just believing on this unlimited potential, believing in something divine. And I think it's this power of faith that it helps you to unlock this divinity that we all possess within and around us, and believing that you're gonna get healed. Because you can read as many books as you want, you can listen as many podcasts as you want, but if you don't really believe, if you don't really have this power and this faith, it gets hard though. Hence the placebo effect, which we have done tons of research on this. It falls kind of in the power of believing, right? So gratitude, believing in something divine, have faith. Happiness is huge. Surround yourself by good people, positive people, and do good. It heals. It does a lot of amazing things.
We both can agree on that, and I think we both try to practice that, and we try to encourage our audience as well to practice this, because it's just, I find myself using gratitude as like a medicine. I feel like whenever I am going through a bad phase and stop and I realize and I
Mhm.
start saying thank you for all that I do have, for all that is going good, all that is going great,
Yeah,
the energy changes. The attention, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So your attention
absolutely.
changes to something positive and your state changes. So I think gratitude will always be the key to change your state, to change your attention, change your energy. And I love that
Absolutely.
you shared that with us. And I
I
loved
love
having
that.
you with us because you're a person who's using all his talents and his charisma to heal a lot of people. And I am very thankful for all the information, the science and the data that you shared with us. It is fascinating to learn more about the brain, to learn more of how we can help those around us, and simple things we could keep improving in our life. And I always like to remind people that listen to this podcast that healing is not it's not like a one-way street. It's not like plain street. It's sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down,
Of course.
sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. And there's a lot of people sharing on these subjects. And if this doesn't resonate with you, find something that does. And we're happy, of course, to be this channel, but there's a million of ways to heal. And
Mhm.
we just have to find what resonates with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talking about gratitude, also loving something I just learned like a few years ago. It's just loving the journey. What am I trying to say with this? Um, Life is the biggest guru. I shouldn't even be here. I had a traumatizing childhood. I was very poor, but I always dream and I have the passion of believing that I was going to be in a good place. Not living in victimhood. Yeah, of course, it's like, but oh my God, I didn't have money to eat and I was so poor. Okay. But because of that, the level of gratitude that I have and appreciation that I have is like nothing. It's just loving the journey, understanding that life and all our traumas and all our slaps and everything, either even like the people that hurt us are gurus. It's understanding that life is our biggest guru. And when you get to be like, wow, I became a neuroscientist or I studied neuroscience because of what happened to me. Oh my God. And that's the truth. The reason that I have so much compassion and love toward others is because all the shit that happened to me, the reason that I love to give to others so much is because I didn't have enough. Yes, I could get stuck. I could get stuck right now being angry, and being like greedy, right? And that's just all for me, you know, F you this, F you that. I'm angry and I have it all. And that is such a sad way of living though, right? But I understood that life and my journey was the biggest guru and is still the biggest guru and is what made me.
I love what you said because we always share that and it's lovely. We enjoy the journey of becoming. And that's
Mhm.
why we share this podcast with the people that hear us. And I'd like you to share something else that you want to share more about your clinic or your clients. How does cómo llegan a ti, cómo te buscan, cómo tienes tanto acceso a diferentes personas en diferentes partes del mundo?
Okay, so that's something. Thank you for asking that. So due to technology right now, we change everything so you don't have to come to the clinic. So we do everything remotely. So we send you the devices, we send you the electroencephalogram. It's all Bluetooth. We send you the iPad Pro in one suitcase, and the other suitcase we send you the RTMS, and the other one comes with a virtual reality headset. We get to meet in the metaverse. I forgot to mention that. So instead of doing the Zoom, we get to meet somewhere. And you get to choose through many where do you want to meet. We can meet in Tahiti. We can meet in Cancun, right? Whatever you guys want. And we can just meet, have our conversations there. But then once again, that's the virtual reality aspect. But when we're talking about the brain mapping, is all done via the cloud. So we do everything remotely. Patients, so we have right now something that's called the Elite Neurotraining Programming. I'm only taking 30 clients a year right now, right? And that's a 1 year VIP coaching intense with all the devices and supplements and all this treatment. And then we have the other one that is 6 months, and most of the clients, they find me through social media, website, mainly Instagram, by the way, which is very funny because my personal page has way more followers, as you probably saw, than my clinic page. So yeah, so most of the people are finding me through social media or other clinics and recommendations.
And I'm positive that also your energy attracts all the people that
Thank you.
are meant to come to you. And of course, our attitude and the way we show up every day to our work, I think, has a huge impact on who we get to meet, who comes to us, and how abundant we feel. Because I am positive that all the meditation me and Ale have done to create this wonderful podcast have led us to people like you. We're all connected, and it does matter how you show up to the world every day. I think that makes a very powerful impact.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Marcelo, just to finish up, I would love you to share your quote, the one you said at the beginning, your mantra, and why you chose it for this episode, and any final thoughts you would like to share with our audience.
Thank you. So one more time, shape your mind to shape your future, and change your consciousness to change the world. That's what I wanted to say, and the reason that I'm doing this is to raise awareness about the unlimited potential and divine intelligence that we all hold within us.
Me encanta. Muchas gracias, Marcelo. Creo que nos quedamos con lo mejor de ti. Fuiste súper claro con todo lo que explicaste y estamos felices de compartirlo con la gente que nos escucha. Gracias a todos por estar aquí y esperamos lo disfruten con nosotras.